Hi Flosstube, I am Betty Jane and this is Tingly House Designs. That's my channel. I am a crafting enthusiast. I have been skirting the edges of Flosstube for quite a while, and I thought what better way than to jump in feet first and join this wonderful community. I am always so impressed by the support and friendliness of everybody who is a crafter. So I can't wait to get to know everybody and to share a little bit of stitching and other crafts. I live in Texas. It's unbearably hot. I'm a bit of a homebody. And I have, my crafting comes in waves. So I do quilting, I do cross stitching, I do card making. I've got knitting needles and crochet needles and all the things. So recently though, my time has been spent focusing on cross stitching. I have gotten back into this particular craft through Flosstube over the pandemic, which has been wonderful. I grew up in a house where we did DIY stuff. My mom was a crafter, my grandparents were crafters, so lots of knitting, crochet, cross stitch. My mother actually latch hooked the rug in our living room. Hideous 70 colors, right? So they were white, which ended up being not so white after 30 years of people sitting on it, stepping on it, tracking dirt in, browns and oranges. It makes me smile to think that rug actually matched some of the decor in our house downstairs. My mom did cross stitch. She made our Halloween costumes. So we were surrounded by, and she saved, it's amazing to me that she saved all of these instruction manuals in a 3-ring binder. So she did miniature kits. So we were surrounded by things like this, which were brought out at Christmas time. And she actually beaded those trees, if you can believe it. It always helps me to kind of feel closer to her. She's not here anymore when I go through this library of things. And I don't know if you can see this with the glare, but those are her handwritten notes and her comments, and then the instructions, which probably was done on a mimeograph machine. My kids don't even know what that is. This particular pattern was in our front hallway, right there. Most of our ornaments growing up were handmade ornaments. And one of the things my mom loved to do every year was hand make Christmas ornaments for our teachers. I confess I am not great at this as an adult, right? My time seems to be spent other ways, but this was hung on the back of our front door every Christmas. And I'd just like to say thank you to whoever came up with Etsy, eBay, all of these places, because I was actually able to track down a kit. So this is in my bag of things to get started on eventually, right? Whenever we find the time, when life lets us find the time. So that's something that we have. My crafting and cross-stitch journey began probably, I was finishing things for my mom, was helping with the Christmas ornaments. Even when I was really little, our Girl Scout troop did all sorts of crafty activities, handkerchiefs with beading on them. But as a young adult in my 20s, years ago, I did small kits like this that were easily obtained from Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And I must be related to my mom because I saved these sort of things the way she did. So we've got, and these are all packed away in our Christmas buckets, otherwise I would have bring them out. But these were the sort of things, they were easy to do between classes, stitch up really quickly. You don't have to worry about having to serge anything because they come on the plastic canvas. So these are the things that are on my tree. I have a annual Christmas tree decorating party, and 90% of the ornaments that we have for the tree are handmade fiberfill things that I made myself, saved from my mom, and she saved from grandparents. And it's always funny to me that my friends come and don't feel comfortable messing with those things, putting them on the tree, just because they feel like they're too delicate, right? So I have to remind them that this is what they were created for, to go on the tree and to be beautiful and to be pretty with all the lights. So as I got a little bit older and my friends started to get married, I mostly did kits, right? Because it was easy. You didn't have to think about it. All the supplies were there. So I branched out into wedding announcements. So this is a pattern I've kept. And I gifted this to some friends that I am still in touch with 20 years later. And I did kit baby announcements. So this is one that I did for a friend. I think this was my first stamped cross stitch kit, and I realized that I didn't love the idea of that because no matter how hard I try, I couldn't fully cover well, right? Couldn't get the coverage that I wanted, so you could still see the stamped pieces underneath the stitches. So I learned very quickly that not a fan of those, not to get those. And then when I started having kids, these were the birth announcements that I put together for them. So these, this one was for my daughter, and it's hanging in her room currently. And this one I did for my son, and that's also hanging in his room. So that's a bit about my cross-stitch journey. And about 2 years ago when the pandemic started, I had 2 screens while I was working, and so I was able to put Flosstube on one of them and be pretty effective on the other, and was watching mostly quilting videos, a couple of DIY things for the house, and stumbled across Flosstube. I found the Stitching with the Housewives channel and realized that I could get kits not just at a box store. So I ordered from Fat Quarter Shop, where I had gotten all of my previous quilting supplies, the truck series. And so I got hot and heavy into that. And that is one of my current whips right now, is the Trucking Along November series. And I got all of the elements from Fat Quarter Shop while they were doing the subscription. And I have slowly made my way through those. I have some fully finished months, I think June, July, etc. And I am currently on November. And here is my current progress. This is on the Ada that's included, and all of the classic color works that's included in the kit. And my needle minder is from, some random Etsy store. So once I dived back in to Flosstube and cross stitch, you know, with the internet, the world is our oyster, right? So I was able to find and locate new and exciting patterns. I am essentially a DMC gal, and didn't even realize about hand-dyed fabrics and flosses, since primarily I started cross-stitching from kits. So this has opened my eyes to a whole bunch of fun new things. And the different communities that there are. Black Needle Society is one that I wasn't familiar with, but am now, and had to have this Frogworks Year One band sampler. So I got this from them, and on a whim, pulled a whole bunch of fabric off of the shelf at Hobby Lobby, different counts, seeing if I could handle something that was more than Ada that came in a kit. And I ended up picking up, Oat Bristol 46 count, which was crazy because I had to get some cheater classes to go along with it. But I have this much stitched, and this is one of those learning experiences, right? That tells us that we should count twice before we do anything, any cutting, and make sure that our fabric is always oriented the correct way, because we don't have enough room to finish it. So I got to the end of Aloha Mora and thought, oh my gosh, that's not gonna be enough. So at the bottom, I tested it out. Sure enough, I felt really confident when I started, but apparently not. So this is something that I will finish, but I haven't been motivated to, since I'm not sure what I'm gonna turn it into when I finally actually do get back around to it. Fortunately, I had a piece of fabric that I had ordered from another random Etsy seller to try my hand at different counts, right? So this is a Zweigart Murano 32 count, a lot easier on my eyes and doesn't require quite as much magnification with the cheaters. And so here's my teeny tiny start here. And I plan to put all of these on the same piece of fabric with space in between. And I was able to jump on the bandwagon and get the year 3 box from Black Needle Society. And so I was able to also get year 2 pattern. So I look forward to seeing how all of that looks together when I finally pick it back up again. I use, here are my DMCs. It's really easy for me to go pick those up. And I've noticed that it doesn't matter to me really about the different shading and the blending that you get with the hand-dyed flosses. So I think that pieces are beautiful when they use that, but I think that it's also equally as pretty when you're using DMC. And honestly, I think that, you know, we justify the things that we want, right? But right now, if I want a pattern or a fabric, it's really easy for me to offset the cost of that getting DMC threads. Another one of my projects that I jumped into with not having any idea what was going to be required of me, but I loved it so much that I had to do it, was to purchase this Heaven and Earth Designs kit, or not the kit, I just got the chart and I kitted it myself. This is the Witch on the Broom. I love this piece of artwork. It just kind of speaks to me. I had no idea until I actually printed out all the pages, right, what this was going to entail. And I have a very teeny tiny start on that right here. So this is a 28 count fabric that I got from a box store along with the DMCs. And there's my Audrey 2 needle minder from an Etsy store. I don't think I realized until I downloaded a tracking app for cross stitch how long that was truly going to take me. I'm still very interested in it, but it seems kind of unattainable right now. The amount of stitches that get put into it versus the remaining stitches, right? And the time it's gonna take to complete it. Another thing that is in my current rotation is a design from this Leisure Arts pamphlet, circa my mom, right? So I'm thinking 1980s, 1990s. I could probably find that on here somewhere if I looked really closely. 1993. But I found this going through her things. I like to shop through my mom's things. She left a whole bunch of unfinished crafts and supplies when she passed away, and so now those are part of my supply library. The kids and I found that and we're excited. So I ventured into waste canvas for the first time and put the designs on a black sweatshirt for the kids and I. So I have completed one of those, which is right here. Really interesting. If anybody has any suggestions for backing material on the inside of the sweatshirt, because I didn't stabilize it as I was stitching. You live and you learn, right? But I don't want it to get caught when it goes through the washing machine because I want to wash it inside out to protect the outside stitching. So if anybody has any ideas about how to protect the inside, let me know, I'd appreciate it. So that's one of them that's finished. And then the other is the candy corns right here. So I've done about 4 of them, and I think that there are probably 8 more to go. So I am hoping to finish that actually before Halloween, and then start up the other design that was requested and have those for us to wear. Sad part is in Texas, it doesn't really get cold enough during October to be able to wear them. So we may actually have to have the AC on and enjoy those inside rather than outside. Another one of my whips is from a box. It is from, let's see, the Summer in Sunnydale box from Forbidden Fiber, which I have recently been introduced to cross stitch boxes. So that's super fun for me to see all sorts of the different variety of things that go into that. I was a big Buffy fan back in the day, still am. And I started stitching this design here, this primeval hand design on a, let's see, 32 Belfast linen, 32 count Belfast linen. I did not pick the fabric from the kit, although it was beautiful, because I wanted to put all 4 of these designs on the same piece of fabric as opposed to individually, the way that they are patterned up. So here is my progress on Primeval hand with my included needle minder there. I've got it on the angel side. And I think that I'm gonna put the different elements, the different patterns, there are 4 of them. And I've got those kitted up with DMC. So I've got the Primeval Mind with the DMC on the back, the Primeval Heart, all kitted up, and Primeval Spirit ready to go. And I think that I'm gonna put 2 on top of 2 and frame it up that way. Let's see what else I've got in front of me. I don't know how you people do this. It took so much thought before I actually sat down and hit the record button to be able to pull everything together in this messy, messy craft room. We do reel in this house. So this is what it looks like if you came over to visit me. So I thought this is what we should have during our introduction video. I've got, oh yes. So another one of the pieces that my mom worked on that was hanging at the top of our stairs, we had a 2-story house in Houston growing up, is this Monopoly piece, which I have, interestingly enough, since learned is a unicorn chart for some people. Had no idea what that was before joining our little stitchy community here. And I have all the DMCs from her, left over from her. And this is my progress on that. So I started over here in the corner, with the Go Square and just kind of kept going. I like this because once you figure out how many spaces between each of the blocks, it's a really easy stitch. And then you can do the outline and fill in. So this can be one of those don't have to think too hard pieces, depending on take it on the go if you want to. So just like the rest of you guys, I have a ton of other projects that are kitted up or in various stages, but these are the ones that I find myself gravitating to most frequently right now. I don't have any haul. I'm trying to be conservative. We'll see how long that lasts. I also like the idea of actually completing a project, although I find that I am not the greatest at fully finishing things. Things tend to sit in my craft room. Behind me you can see for a while. It seems to be required that they have to be there a maximum of 3 to 6 months before they build up enough for me to actually want to work on them or fix them. So I enjoy the stitching part right now and not so much the finishing part. Some days the sewing is me proving to the machine that I am smarter than it, and that's not quite an enjoyable process. So thank you for joining me in my foray into Flosstube and my trip down memory lane. I look forward to meeting a bunch of new crafty besties and hearing suggestions and comments and being part of this wonderful community. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye.